Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NATCA's President, Paul Rinaldi.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. That was fantastic, as always. An angelic voice. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters and invited guests. Welcome to Las Vegas. Welcome to CFS 2016. This is my 9th day in this great city of Las Vegas, and I'm still standing. We have been here, the last week we were hosting the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers. We had close to 500 international air traffic controllers from around the globe. The theme of that conference was professionalism and leadership equals safe skies around the world. Many have stayed to experience CFS for the first time. And we explained to them that here in the United States, we face many of the same challenges as they do around the world. They push for modern equipment and procedures. They strive for the highest standard of professionalism. And we promote and safeguard the national airspace system while protecting the air traffic control profession along with the other aviation safety professionals. You see, modernization and innovation is rapidly making our individual airspaces in our countries into one gigantic, dynamic, global aviation system. So it's important for the controllers around the world to have that dialogue and have those discussions. And I'm glad that our international guests are here this week. This week we have another fantastic CFS plan for you. The exhibit hall is very impressive, probably the best we've ever had. Set up with industry theaters to elevate the experience. As you walk through to come to this gigantic room, a lot of faces out there, you saw the display, the art of the airport tower from the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. The photographer and the museum specialist will be here to sign the books. If you haven't had a chance to look at the display or the books, it's very, very cool. Our staff, our committee of volunteers, has done an amazing job to put together what I think will be the best Communicating for Safety ever. This Communicating for Safety and others are the premier safety conference in the world. We will have enlightened discussions on FAA reauthorization, NextGen, CESAR. For those who don't know what CESAR is, that's the European equivalent to NextGen. We have a great panel on remote towers, discussion on UAVs. We will hear from an expert on human factors, and backed by popular demand, our friend Gordon Graham. This conference is going to be packed with information, discussions, and education. And of course, we will end this conference appropriately with the Archer League Banquet Award ceremony, celebrating the most outstanding examples of professionalism while under intense pressure in 2015. So thank you for being here this week. Thank you for taking an active role in aviation safety, because aviation safety is our cornerstone to our existence. It's the core of what we do. How many of us arrived in Las Vegas this week on a commercial flight? Hands up. Almost everybody. That's what I figured. You know, the most dangerous part of your flight to Las Vegas this week was the drive to the airport. It's true. 2015 was one of the safest on record for airliners worldwide. Another amazing year in the United States. No fatalities on a U.S. commercial airliner. And that's because of the fine work that you do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we thank you, and no one should ever take that for granted. You know, Google has a plan to increase air travel for the future. It's called the driverless car. It's funny, isn't it? But it's poetic in a way, knowing that the controllers and the pilots in the United States have made aviation so routine, sometimes it's boring. That's exactly how we want it. Our air traffic control system choreographs roughly 7,000 aircraft in the United States skies at any given moment. One of the most complex, safest airspaces in the world. And yet, Rarely a thought is in the minds of the millions of travelers that rely on it day in and day out, including myself. And that's exactly how we want it. We have been good. We've been very good. Commercial aviation has never been safer. However, now is not the time for complacency. Now is not the time to rely on our accomplishments of last year. And now is certainly not the time to say we are good enough as an aviation system. You see, complacency is the enemy of progress. And good enough is the demise of greatness. The status quo is unacceptable. We have many challenges ahead of us with no easy solutions. So many issues we face for today and for our future, from the staffing of our facilities to our aging infrastructure. With our dated airspace procedures to implementing new technology, allowing new users to enter into our system, such as UAVs and commercial airspace. Modernizing our equipment, our procedures, and our forever changing culture. One of our biggest challenges is to obtain a stable, predictable, appropriate funding stream. And let's not forget about our expiring FAA reauthorization bill. So many challenges. It truly is the land of confusion. So why do we care so much? Why do we say the status quo is unacceptable? Why do we care about a stable, predictable, appropriate funding stream? You see, last year, actually in 2014, we moved nearly 850 million passengers on commercial flights. And we are projected to move 1.2 billion passengers by 2034, just 18 years away. Both Boeing and Airbus expect to double the number of aircraft in the system by 2034. And that's not including what we can expect by implementing UAVs into our system. Capacity is growing. We will have to keep moving forward. We will have to keep up with this amazing safety record. But what's going to give first as our sectors get saturated? Our staffing, our antiquated equipment, our aging infrastructure, our 20 en route centers are over 50 years old. Our funding, our outdated procedures, or the user's going to suffer? What will our sectors look like when we choreograph 9,000 flights at any given time throughout our airspace? What kind of pressure will be on our controllers? How saturated will our sectors be? What equipment will we be relying upon to keep these skies safe? Think about it. Not for today, but as we move towards the future. An interesting fact is, currently, we do 2.4 million manual handoffs with our brothers and sisters to the north on the Canadian border. This is after a multi-billion-dollar upgrade of ERAM. The only thing standing in the way of it is additional funding. Our friends to the north have the technology, they're just waiting on us to get the funding. And currently, we run around our air traffic control towers and TRACONs with paper strips. Not because of a lack of technology. Most of the civilized world has moved towards an electronic flight strip program. It's a lack of funding. We lack tools for spacing, sequencing, and time-based metering as we move towards next-gen technology, all because insufficient funding. If we're going to have saturated sectors with more airplanes, we're going to need better equipment to keep the skies safe. And if we're going to be prepared for the future, we're going to need a stable funding stream. Brothers and sisters, with that said, this current aviation system has served us well until recent years. Unfortunately, we no longer have stable, predictable, appropriate funding stream, and the uncertainty has caused us serious problems in our system. Let us not forget what happened in 2013 when sequester came into place. The FAA scaled down all modernization projects. They looked at closing 238 air traffic control towers and tried to close 149 of them for purely financial reasons. They stopped hiring air traffic controllers in the academy for a full year, which is contributing to our staffing problems today. We are currently at a 27-year low of fully certified controllers. We have less CPCs in the system today than what Ronald Reagan fired in 1981. And that's a fact, and that's a scary fact. Further, the agency went to a fix-on-fail maintenance philosophy. They stopped stockpiling critical equipment essential for our safe operation. And then for the first time in our careers, we saw the FAA furlough air traffic controllers. All of these decisions were made in order to meet budget restrictions under sequestration, not for operational reasons, and certainly not for the safety of the national airspace system, which we hold so near and dear to our heart. So this is completely unacceptable. You know, our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year aviation system has been challenged over the last 10 years. We've experienced 24 short-term extensions of FAA reauthorization, soon to get our 25th on March 31, we hope. We have experienced a partial shutdown of the FAA, a complete government shutdown, and numerous threats of government shutdown. Aviation safety should not come second to defunding Obamacare, Planned Parenthood, Syrian refugees, or gun control. All important issues to this country, however, not germane to aviation safety. With our country approaching $19 trillion in debt and growing, we will see less and less of a funding appropriated for aviation. We need to ensure we have a dedicated funding stream in order to maintain our skies, in order to maintain safe skies. The problems of the last 10 years has exacerbated the challenges for the future. Planning for the future has to start now, here at CFS. 2034 will be here before you know it. And given the history that I have with the FAA, and given the government bureaucratic-laden procurement and requirement process, we are already too late for 2034. So our first responsibility every day is to defeat complacency and allow us to enhance safety and grow our national airspace system. Defeating complacency will not happen by chance, but rather by design. Hiding behind the status quo because you're uneducated on the facts is unacceptable and will not prepare us for the future. Sticking your tail between the legs and opening a Facebook page because you're not paying attention to important issues is cowardly and weak. Now is not the time for weakness. Now is the time for strength and courage. Now is the time to educate yourself and take an active role in the future of your profession and the safety of our skies. Now is the time to take a stand for safety. The future is now. The formula is simple. Protect the greatest workforce in America, the ones that run the largest, most complex, most diverse system in the world. And if you protect them, you will continue to be the world leader in aviation. Make no mistake about one thing. Change is coming with or without us agreeing. Trish Gilbert, myself, the National Executive Board, we didn't ask for this. But this is the land we live in, and this is the hand we were given. We must move forward to prepare for growth in the modern world. As we move forward, we must protect the workers of the system. I look around this room, I see committed professionals dedicated to the safety of our system. You are the system. And if we protect you, the system will be protected. It's a simple formula. Protect the workers, protect the system. And that, in short, is why we care, brothers and sisters. That, in short, is why we need stable, predictable, appropriate funding. And my brothers and sisters, that is why the status quo is completely unacceptable. Please play a video. Brothers and sisters, invited guests, the choice is truly ours. Stand up and build a better tomorrow. This is the land of confusion, and this is the world we live in. There is no room for complacency. We must be proactive, strategic, and professional with addressing changes to our national airspace system, and always keeping first and foremost the safety of our national airspace system. We have 3 days of fruitful discussion, informative panels, and educational information, all to enhance the safety of this great system. I hope you have an enlightened, productive, and enjoyable week. And remember, it's never wrong to do the right thing. Once again, welcome to Las Vegas. Let's have a great conference. Thank you.